No Tomorrow and Teammate are all tied up, but Infernal Shrines and Battlefield of Eternity are out. We know these are two favorites of Team 8's. Up next, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Who do you think picked it?
Tomb of the Spider Queen? That would have to be No Tomorrow. I feel like it would be No Tomorrow, right? I mean,
yeah.
No.
Oh.
Team 8, just because, again, the same philosophy maybe that they would be having on BOE, less macro. So, okay, so Tomb is, because macro is a really broad word, it's a little unfair. Tomb is technically a macro-focused map, but for different reasons than most macros. Theirs is on the wave clear only, whereas, you know, you can play like globals on Curse, you can make it into a macro focus there. So it is weird because it's removing the global aspect of the macro play that Teammate's good at, because they've never been a wave clear for the most part, unless they fixate on a Gul'dan. Every other part, it's been, let's global, let's use Zeratul, the side soak strategy. So the small map would have removed that, and that's why I felt like No Tomorrow would pick it, but Team 8 taking us there.
Yeah, No Tomorrow even has picked Tomb before,
Yeah.
whereas Team 8 has not ever looked at picking Tomb for the most part. So I also thought it was going to be No Tomorrow pick Battleground, especially because we've seen No Tomorrow start shifting more toward the Battleground pick, whereas for all of Part 1 and a lot of Part 2, they weren't doing that. They were still wanting to get first pick after losing a game. So now going back to first pick, Teammate picking Tomb, does anything stand out to you for Teammate playstyle, why they would want to pick that?
No. I thought, my biggest thought is that Dyrus really has a hero he wants to play, and they feel like that's the best place to work it. That is like the only thing that I can see out the gates. Like, there's no specific hero these guys are very overly good at. There's nothing when it comes to shot calling or anything decision-making wise that this players have kind of, you know, Glorung has never been like, Tomb, I love it. It's, you know, my favorite map. There's nothing that makes me feel like Teammate would pick it other than the variable of Dyrus.
Well, my thought then for that is Leoric.
Yeah. They just want to bust him on Leo all day. You know, the Dahaka, they didn't feel like it was enough pressure. If that's the case, do you, number one, No Tomorrow pick up on it? Answer is no. Number two is how fast do you draft that for No Tomorrow? Do you do it in your first rotation? That's what they've done or at least they did it in Game 1. Game 1, they picked Leoric in their first slot to make sure they had that for Dyrus. The next one, they waited for Dahaka last pick.
Yes, but again, Varian could have been played by either.
Yeah, that is true.
By either Justing or Dyrus. So what is first pick possibility No Tomorrow? Do they feel like they need to first pick Muradin now because you lose out on something like Gul'dan?
I think Greymane is a great place to start. They're not going to go that direction. They're going to take Cassia. Removing that from Team 8, it takes a huge variable of that flexing concept that you and I were talking about. When it comes to, I guess not more flexing, but leaving your picks to be vague in terms of who are the person playing that for Team 8. And a lot of that, in my opinion, hinges around specifically Greymane. If you remove him, a lot of questions just don't exist anymore, and it's very easy. It's like a 1 or 2.
Yeah, I would say it's, not getting Greymane. Greymane and Dahaka.
Yeah.
Dahaka's another
but
one,
Dahaka
too.
only works on certain maps. Greymane is universal.
Leo, Chromie.
So it's going to be Leoric for Dyrus, that they, so much so that they're willing to pick it high up there. Now, Tomb of the Spider Queen pick makes a lot of sense. You picked up, you know, Leoric to be able to have Dyrus on that hero, feel comfortable there. Leo's best map, he's a terror. Prismatic gets the comfort of a Chromie too.
I think that the Cassia now makes me think that Johanna is the warrior pick for Arrow this time, and that maybe that they don't feel like they need to get it right now.
Okay.
Because it's not like Muradin. Muradin, a noob, always. They feel like they have to draft very high up in the draft to ensure they get one of them. But this is Johanna, so how likely is it that Teammate would want to ban?
It's rather unrealistic. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possible, but it very much is. There is no incentive other than fear of the double blind out of Teammates. So we're yet to see a team respect blind enablers enough. You know, when Cassia is picked, you don't see people ban blinds. You do see people ban Cassia, though, when there are no blinds, right? So right now, it doesn't seem like Teammate, according to what we've seen so far on this patch, there's no interest towards raiding of those blinds. Unless the case of wave clear into the 4 is a major focus point for Teammate, but Obviously, with the first 2 picks, having Chromie in your 4 and Leo as your solo, they don't have too much interest there. So go with Zarya.
I mentioned Johanna. Now I'm wondering about Tyrael instead.
All right. Well, I can help you with your diagram.
Because screaming.
Yeah. It's just when we use this diagram, totally down to adapt this. You know, I think it's something that we could get, but it's actually Johanna, and then there's Tyrael.
Oh, got it. Right, the scales.
There. Yeah, he is infinite higher.
The only reason why I would say maybe not is because of the team specifically. No Tomorrow has played some Tyrael, but has not had as much success as they have had with Johanna.
It's a counter to Leo. It's a lane matchup into him. It's synergistic to the composition. To me, if No Tomorrow doesn't end up moving the Tyrael, it's one of 2 things. They didn't think about it because they honestly low value onto the Tyrael, or case number 2, they can't play it. Like, that is how good that Tyrael is here in this game. Well, they can't.
Or
they
option
can't play.
3.
They can't play it. It gets taken away by teammate. So now, what do you do, No Tomorrow? That, you know, kind of rustled the jimmies of the draft plan here for No Tomorrow. One thing that is possible, unlikely, is a Ragnaros. Is a thing here to match the Leoric on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Casanova feels comfortable there. They have a decent amount of setup. It could hold its own.
That's one of the highest played heroes for Casanova. I'm struggling to think what else he would play now with Tyrael gone.
It's like one of those, like, it doesn't necessarily thrive. It's like it's a very B tier pick in this scenario, this late and in this position.
Maybe Dahaka, but again, it's such a small battleground. He's not going to get nearly what they would have done.
See, I was going to say...
I thought about Artanis too, looking at his hero pool, then I was like, I'm not going to...
Yeah, I was going through the Casanova file in my brain, and I was really hoping out of all of those, it was either going to be the Ragnaros or the Thrall. But, you know, No Tomorrow, maybe we see Casanova. He took a lesson from Goku. He was watching yesterday. He was like, these swaps, I'm going to one-up it. Because the first time we did a huge montage reel on a player with swaps started with Casanova.
That's true.
He was just dominating.
And it does help with Johanna. She doesn't have the initiation that maybe you would want with Murden before. But if there's a swap, then she can make sure to keep them there. They have Hammer of Justice. They have Condemned to Blessed Shield, so a lot of ways to lock somebody down off of that swap afterward. And it takes off that pressure from Erho to try to get engages with Johanna, adding blinds to Cassia too. There's a lot of great things. There's the reasons why we mentioned Johanna before there. She's going to be safe, give them wave clear too.
I'm sorry, I was actually, the whole time, I was looking at level 7. This is on Uther. This is a non-Guardians of the Ancient King game. This is a cleanse game. The first time I think we've had a cleanse game picked. I don't know if you'll take it.
Temporal Loop.
Yeah, it's just mainly that there's very incentive for Guardian of the Ancient King, and there's a lot of singular, one-off, long enough cooldowns to justify moving into the cleanse here. I got really excited because it's the first time Uther is the only support in the entire game that has a cleanse that isn't taken at the 7 talent tier. Then, now it's the first game where we actually see a niche scenario to where he can commit to that, but it's a different version of cleanse. This is 30 seconds longer, and every auto attack reduces the cooldown by 5 seconds. So in theory, could be near even, but he's got to be active the whole time.
We'll see if he wants Hand of Protection or still gets Guardian of the Ancient Kings. Either way, we've got a game on our hands for Tomb of the Spider Queen. Once again, this is Team 8 versus No Tomorrow.
I get excited over the weirdest things, you know?
That's true.
That's what I've learned here up at the desk with you is, in fact, your interests and mine are very different. And then I quickly learned that maybe it's just me. Either way, already at level 1, Tiger JK is kind of mixing things up here with the Silver Touch.
You have to reduce damage with Devotion from heroic sources, so from any damage that teammate does. There's 2 tiers of levels. The first one reduces the mana cost, yes, of Holy Light. The second time also again reduces the mana cost of Holy Light, but also increases its range by 50%.
I'm just trying to think of what heroics does he gain value off of. Bloodlust, even if it worked, wouldn't be one you gain value of. Ancestral, you don't. Temporal Loop, you don't. Mobius, and then...
It's not heroic abilities. It's from a heroic source.
Okay, I thought for a moment you were like, that's heroic abilities. I've actually never even taken this level 1. That's why I was so noted it that fast on Uther. There's just been a general standard so quickly here. I was like, man, stopping heroic ults.
Yeah, and getting that at level 1, there's going to be a long time
like,
before you can...
Not only is that kind of late spike, I was just like, what are you going to do? Are you going to stop only Genji and Judgment? That's it? All right, so other than that, though, we got the laning matchups here on bottom. Team A is going with a really crazy laning choice here. They're actually holding Galar up on bottom for now. Go, the catch out there onto Buds is going to be the first blood of the game. Not typical you see a support die into a 4-man purely off of wave clear intent there. Or even those small skirmishes. Buds just getting a little greedy there with the butt bites.
Hammer of Justice, but Justin had his Eldraine Might in the back, making sure that he can still get the gems there. Yeah, the laning is reminiscent of Team 8 playing on Infernal Shrines earlier. Very fluid between all 3 of the lanes with members, just seeing where and which advantages they can get.
Yeah, it's a bit more of what North America has been trying to adapt. On 1.4 maps, we have been implementing more of a... It's like a... I don't want to say like a Chinese 2-1-2. Wraith walk out for Dyrus. He will survive the swap. But it's more of like a... It's like a 3-2, but the 3 is not full. There's kind of like this weird flex who's like a... You know, I'll go to a side lane that's really struggling if needed. And though it doesn't lead to... It leads to what seems like a very stalled early half of the game. It is strange that it has become so uniform here and there, and it's not been map dependent either. It's just kind of been any 1-4 to mix things up with the laning phase.
I wonder if this is Holy Shock for Uther, and that's why he went for Silver Touch. I'm still trying to figure that Silver Touch out.
If we're going down the rabbit hole for real, I personally think that level 4 should rise depending on the map. Going for the Holy Shock. The one complaint I have with Holy Shock, I wish it was toggleable. Literally, I think it would be, if you could toggle the talent, I would take it every game. Almost every game. Purely based on the fact that Uther struggles. His 4s are kind of met across the board with the current build. So he's good at ganking, though. That's one of the few things he can do, and that gives you that early game gank pressure. The problem is, late game, when 5 people are stacked on top of one another, you do not want to lose a heal to a Holy Shock.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even with the reduced cooldown, and Justine's jukes with Tyrion have been on point this game. Even though it is a reduced cooldown, reduced mana cost, and you're still able to get the self-heal even when using it for damage, still just not... That would be, in the heat of the moment, so bad if it went on the wrong target.
No, and it's very, very difficult because I don't know if anybody at home is a support main, but if you've ever looked at how character models work when overlapping, it's really, we'll put it in kind terms, crazy to try and understand the complexity of all those things to where you can be healing a target with your mouse, but your mouse will not actually heal the target, all based on the character models, the sizes, and where they're overlapping. And so Holy Shock single-handedly makes that talent just worse. Like, your healing dies because you took an offensive talent. And so if that was toggleable, I feel like the laning phase of Uther suddenly ganks a lane, throws down the Hammer of Justice. He's not going to heal anyways. Busts out a little bit of extra damage on that solo target.
Well, he's going to do that, but more so with his Holy Fire. Again, we're seeing that. Trying to help out at least, maybe with some wave clear. Offers some damage that he can amplify.
Swap.
Looking for a swap. It does hit Buds. He gets hit from the poke damage from Talking Trees.
Nice use of the Protect there coming out from Glarong. Jason's in a bad spot here. Adjusting, didn't throw out the Q, so no chase coming out from him, no smite. But 49 gems here for Team 8. Enough to be able to get the first set of Web Weavers. No tomorrow. Same case here, as they have 40 in reserve.
It's a cute bait from Glarong, trying to bait them into Prismaticism damage. Almost worked out, too.
I really want to see him bait Greymane so bad over a sidewall. It would be. It's just one of the most enjoyable things to just see. Oh, here's the Swift Strike, and Greymane's like, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. No Eyes in the Dark to protect him too. If you took Eyes in the Dark, technically you could survive a couple of seconds and then get that stealth away from the turrets, but not here with Flask build.
Level 7 for both teams, almost 8 for Prismaticism's heroic ability. No Hand of Protection, still getting Guardian of Ancient Kings.
That made me so sad. It was the only window we had, Gilly. Stunned, rooted, or silenced. How many stuns, roots, or silence exist, Gilly?
Not a whole lot. Nothing?
Not a single one.
No.
That makes me sad. We would have seen the cleanse. We got to see it in action.
God, I'm trying to think through all the talents, and
I don't think there's a single one. There's not a single one of those existing anywhere. That's why I got so hyped. It took me a while. That's why I seriously blinked out for like 20 seconds. I was like, okay, I've got to be missing something. Team 8 with a stun, root, or silenceless composition. Even because like the rework way long time ago to Totem, for instance, with Rhaegar is technically not a root. It's actually just a 99% slow. It used to root, but no longer.
Webweaver's out for Team 8. They've taken out some towers, but defense was solid from No Tomorrow for that first phase.
Was proper defense, but it's not like Team 8 has a siege composition by any means, right? So, I mean, give credit where it's due, but also Team 8, you know, wasn't necessarily the team that every Webweaver phase you see them ripping open the map. There's going to be an attempt here, but nice delay coming out from Prismat there with the slowing sands and flinging out those Qs left and right. Feeling so comfortable there on the little Chromie. He was the first competitive Chromie I think I've ever seen, actually. He's been playing this hero for a long while.
There was a 1v1 that I casted with J-How back in the day, and I think it was Prismaticism.
Who busted out the Chromie.
Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah, no, I just remember the first time it was Battlefield of Eternity. I remember watching him play it. Didn't work out way back, you know. She also was a very different hero at the point in time, but it's awesome to see, you know, one where you know a player loves a hero, feels comfortable on a hero, and it is not in the meta. Kind of thrive. Big Entomb coming out from Dyrus. Dash in. Nice Sanctification's going to negate all the damage from Glorung, but Tiger JK falling so very quickly, he ends up going down, drops the D-Shield before.
Talk about a knife fight in a closet like Tomb of the Spider Queen. So is Dragon Blade into an Entomb. Purifier Beam tried to chase away Chromie, but Ancestral Healing saved our little gnome. Only one kill throughout that whole entire thing.
It was flashy. Sanctification made a lot of good things happen there. And Tiger JK ended up falling. So we'll see if he can... I'm trying to think, is there any adjustments in his build he can make to keep that survivability? Because the Sanctification seriously stopped 3 people getting hit from 2 different procs there onto...
Blessed Champion would give that area healing to himself and the rest of the team with auto attacks, but he has to be in auto attack range. So whether he's willing to do that instead of Wellmat. Also, there's a spell shield there. That's possible, Chromie.
Yeah, it's just the spell shield would help a little bit, but it wouldn't be enough. The burst came out from Genji, all of it, right into the Entomb, and hitting the... I believe he hit the damage over the wall. These are a lot of interactions I haven't seen yet, but the Tiger JK cannot take that much damage that fast. Uther wants to be the first to die, but after he gets a value D-Shield. He had to drop D-Shield purely based on the fact that he just was about to. You know, he didn't use it on himself in the die later. It was like, here, Greymane, maybe you can make something happen. My ghost form.
There is a talent at 16 that once you Holy Light, if you're below 50% health, it increases the self-healing of Holy Light by 200%. Possible. You give up Tears Deliverance, though, which is additional healing for your teammates. When you use Holy Radiance, it's a 40% increase. Hammer of Justice, cleanse, and jumping to Eldurin's Might. Justing is safe. Justing's doing such a fantastic job of making sure that he always has that to jump back. Here comes Dyrus, though. We have an Entomb possible. He uses it.
It doesn't land, and there's going to be the D-Shield force. Is Casanova getting damage under the backline? There's the Sanctification. Glorung slicing and dicing through No Tomorrow as that's reset number 1. There's going to be number 2. Tiger JK self-healing, denying the 3rd. And now it's a 3-for-2 trade. No Tomorrow still yet to even fight back in these initiations, it feels like.
This double threat comp from Team 8 is horrible for No Tomorrow to deal with. You've got Genji that you would love to be trying to stop when he's Dragon Blading, but the Sanctification and Dragon Blade are so on point. And then after that, the whole time, Chromie is just dropping bombs left and right on everyone. I was so scared that No Tomorrow was going to lose someone else with how low those health bars were at the end.
I think this is a really good game to use as an example to look for mainly just that double threat that you're emphasizing right there. When you have 2 threats versus just having the singular one of like maybe a Genji on zone when you can pay that amount of attention, because what those do is essentially make it to where your point of retreat, because those are heroes that rely on heavy momentum at the start of a fight, so you deny the momentum, but every moment past that point on retreat and things of the like are always a constant consideration of not only your opponent, but your team to try and make sure you get out. And it just is so unforgiving to go from point A to point B all in retreat without making one step in the wrong direction. And then these double threat comps just go, all right, well, you're out of spot. Time to go, because you have to retreat as you're fighting into these comps, and that's the hardest part.
Yeah, No Tomorrow are ones that want to be going in. They've got Greymane, they've got Cassia too, who steps in with her Fend, and it's terrifying to do that, knowing that Sanctification, and all of a sudden you're all in prime position for Dragon Blade to cut through a lot of the members of No Tomorrow, and there's only so much that Uther can do. Uther did get Spell Shield at 13, so maybe that will help him make sure that he has his survivability. Maybe just playing a little bit back for him.
Yeah, it's hard. It really is. Ooh, Casanova going with the swap. Just because, at least fight number 1, Glaurung's got his ult pop. Demon Blade strike 1, 2, Sanctification drop, Ancestral lands, but there is such a squishy Artanis as he receives the D-shield, gets his self-shielding. Dyrus is in a bad spot, but yet to go down. There he goes. Purifying Beam is yet to cleanse Prismaticism and the rest of Team 8, but it did end up getting 1 kill in this fight.
Matt, being able to leave Divine Shield until last minute, then Casanova had his own self-shielding to supplement after the fact. No Tomorrow made a change. They were able to change that thing around, and as Artanis continues to get tankier and tankier, that will get better and better.
And the fact that we've seen 2 Webweaver phases from Team 8?
Yes.
And nothing's been gained. Only 1 fort 12 minutes in? That's crazy. If No Tomorrow managed to pick up a turn-in of their own, their siege will still kind of be as lackluster, a little bit better. But the fact that, you know, it's only a 1 fort this late is insane to think of. Casanova not attempting the swap there, but he met with an Entomb. The damage is going to be there. Nice storm or stun going on to the Tyrael. Casanova trying to keep himself up.
There's no Divine Shield. He does dodge that Dragon's Breath.
Oh man, that was...
And Ball Lightning got tossed around a little bit from Team 8, just throwing the beach ball back and forth.
I have no idea how Team 8 was able to, or No Tomorrow, excuse me, was able to survive that situation. I thought for sure somebody was going down, but they don't. They're still in it here. On Tomb of the Spider Queen, as the Web Weavers seem to be the main focus here for these teams.
Team 8 does not have 16 to try to stop No Tomorrow from getting their second turn-in of the game.
It's only 13, not enough for the turn-in. 11, or excuse me, we aren't at the 50 mark. 16 left. Dyrus ends up missing his W. This late in the game, if you miss a W on Leoric, you're waiting for that cooldown to come back up before you even feel like you're a hero. Just the trading mixed with the 13 bonus damage, and at 16 going for the cooldown. It has almost near 100% uptime. But you gotta hit the first. If you don't hit the first, it will be your last. I think is about the best way to put it.
Doesn't have the range for that at level 1. Instead, made sure to get block, which is more of the standard build when you are solo laning a lot, to get block and fealty unto death, just depending on who you are up against in the solo lane. So, might have played a part from that.
Well, Weaver's online. No Tomorrow's got 4 members grouped up on mid. Greymane gets a join. There he goes. He's going to merge right on through. 16 on 16. What can No Tomorrow make happen? There's going to be the swap, the stun right on the buds. They do it. Dyrus quick to follow. That was a beautiful initiation from No Tomorrow, thanks to the escorting of Casanova.
13 out of 10 on that swap. Justing, once again, juking using Elduran's might, but all he does is somewhat slow down at this siege from No Tomorrow.
By this time, Justing, every time he hits his Q, he's just like, look at what I can do. And just like, that's the end of the whole thing. He's just more of annoyance than anything, but No Tomorrow has an opportunity. The top Web Weaver's still alive, Gilly. They've got all the members here up on mid, and still 10 seconds before Buds is back.
Man, that swap into Hammer of Justice was gold, just like we saw yesterday from Superstars with Goku and Iacona. Damage has been dealt from No Tomorrow. Starting to rotate up to the top. There's not too much of this Web Weaver left. Rhaegar and Chromie coming back to join the fight.
What is No Tomorrow going to do? They all are rotating bottom. I'm really scared that they're going to commit to bottom and the boss is going to be free. Not like this, guys. 2 members still anchoring up on top. They don't have enough for a turn-in. They know they're not on the boss for Team 8, so it's going to be more patient. They aren't committing to bottom. All right, so safer play here for No Tomorrow. It's just typically after a late game fight like that, you're like, yeah, I'll take the free forts on my way out. And it's like, oh, everybody's bottom. Teammates like, thank you. Gonna right away with that boss here. But they're about 5 away from having a Web Weaver phase of their own. Team 8 need it in this game as they've only got 1 fort.
Prismaticism put a time trap on the boss now just to keep eyes on if No Tomorrow tries to make that a priority for them. But No Tomorrow are trying to get mercenaries in other directions. They have 1 fort remaining to take out from Team 8's boss, or Team 8's base. Had my mind on the boss still.
Nice holy ground there, splitting Urho. Iron Skin Forest. There goes the totem. Blessed Shield dropped. No Tomorrow's looking to fight. Casanova swaps Prismaticism, but nobody there to follow up. His damage so quick, and Buds can't even get the Ancestral. Prismaticism is gone. Dyrus on quick retreat drops the Wraithwalk out. Can they get Glorung, though? He's still got 1 dash. There it is. And so it looks like 1 kill is all No Tomorrow can get.
Ball lightning. Did you see it?
No.
After he Wraithwalked? So Cassie was standing next to him. Oh, Justine, you jerk. Yeah,
He's got a Q back up in a half second. He got swapped!
Look at Glaudo!
Everybody is just getting deleted. He brought death to his team.
Tiger.
He's got heals.
Justine's dropping. He's going to be a bomb.
All right, so Tyrael blew up. Buds is getting the Purifier Beam. Entomb coming out from Dyrus.
Buds is trying, but he's like, I have to leave you now. Here at the end of all things.
Dyrus can pretty much just body these two, though. He's got the 16 now, so 100% uptime nearly to his
Look
W.
Look at his body
Watch.
block.
Wait. Don't W yet, Dyrus. Please wait for Iron Skin. Iron Skin, Q. Now W. Done. He's dead.
No, Buds died too, but Prismaticism's back, and Dyrus wants more. He's not been sated.
Wait. W. Walk away.
Oh,
Dyrus.
Please be step. Please be step. Be step.
He almost was the greatest North American player that stood this day. The one true skeletal king here, turning it up on top. He's got the Web Weavers for Team 8, and this is now a window here. But it all started thanks to Dyrus.
Wait.
I'm going with Dyrus. He was the carry. He was the carry of that fight.
That fight was amazing.
It was.
Oh, just from the swap on. Justine using Sage.
It's one of those things where this is what I think may have happened too, because Casanova, a lot of like, at least when I play, a lot of it is like foretelling because of what your opponent wants to do, right? So when you see the Tyrael and diving, your first thought is he's going to Q away.
Yeah.
And so Casanova goes, I can swap directly after, right? So just predict where you think the Q is going to go. Look for the swap immediately after. But a lot of the times you don't ask yourself, like, what if there's somebody on the other side of this, right? Like more than just justing and a quick response. Tiger JK even entombed here. I don't know if he can make it out. Not even going to drop the Divine Shield. He is just flat dead, but he's got redemption. He'll be back. Can Tree survive? He can. They get Genji. Glorung is dead.
The Infinite Lightning doing so much. Buds nearly goes down, but Jason just barely can't get the kill.
Uther's a good hero. I just learned that in that fight, you know? Much like we saw out of Europe here with the Resurrect coming back. You know, if you trade well into an Uther or an Ariel, if she takes that heroic, got to get more than this them because 1 Resurrection back from the dead, the heals to throw out onto everybody, the Divine Shield keeping talking trees alive. Tiger JK had a clutch moment, and they've got 30 seconds, but they need more from this. You know, this is a 20-minute game on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and not even a keep taking.
I know. It's just been fighting upon fighting. 9 to 9 kills, 20 to 20. Looking for the fight. Justine does not have Sanctification.
Oh.
Has Roderick Reforging.
We've seen what he can do when it comes to those camps.
There's no Genji.
Casanova, one thing I do like about Casanova staying out here is what he can do is, let's say Tyrael moved up there. If you're an Artanis, you're taking that boss, Tyrael moves up, you wait till
Tyrael.
When Tyrael goes in to actually steal through Holy Ground is when Artanis goes, no. You swap them around. You'll still get Holy Ground, but you'll buy all the time in the world to make sure you get yourself that boss.
As Tyrael just sadly floats his way back to the boss point or home after being swapped off.
He does float, huh? I never even thought about that. He just flat out doesn't even have a walking animation. It's just the ground's beneath me. Teammate here, 9-9 in kills over with No Tomorrow, but they are way away from a turn-in. 5 away for No Tomorrow. Not going to be... It's going to be soon here. They've actually got it. They're even stacking the mid Knights and the bottom Giants to get that pressure out. They should look to force the turn-in in that small window. We got Spectral Leech online, though, for Dyrus. So that 2v1 we saw before where he was a problem, he is now going to just obliterate that fight.
And what I love to see, Holy Arena for 25% more damage, 1 second longer sanctification. What have they been throwing on top of that, Dragon Blade?
Blessed Shield into the swap attempt. Buds is still stuck there. 3-minute tube coming out. There is the Holy Arena online as Genji is just dashing through. Demon Blade slicing the members of No Tomorrow, but Uther is the one who is dead. He's got the heals. He's got no res, but he does have those picks. 1 for 1, 2 for 1 now. Teammate pulling ahead is Glorong. Legitimately is hard to track.
Oh no, he's still chasing down. He has the Dragon Becomes Me, which is why he's still been able to prolong this Dragon Blade fight to the death. Only one member left. It's Erho.
Indestructible is going to bait Glorong.
Yep.
Wait, oh, it didn't. It did not bait him. He, in fact, will survive and get the last dash. Nah, he's trying. Keep down. 40 seconds, Gilly, till we see anybody else. That looks like it's going to be all she wrote. No passive, Blessed Shield innate. Doesn't matter. Dyrus is back online, and it looks like teammates got themselves a second game.
One level 20 fight is all they needed for Team 8 to take Game 3, putting them 1 game away from closing out this series versus No Tomorrow.
Well fought. The question moving into game number 4, or excuse me, game number 4, Dyrus on Leoric. Does No Tomorrow ban it? The map was chosen. It was a unique map, and especially if No Tomorrow knows Team 8, you know, been keeping track of specifically their pick bans. They know that this was for a heavy reason to go to Tomb and the Leoric that high. Are they going to try and take it away? I mean, Dyrus had way better Entombs that game than last one. Like, he actually had gameplay making Entombs.
Yeah, because they would Entomb, Sanctification, and then Genji was just like, hello, my friends.
Just walk.
All the way through.
What is this?
Dragon Blade.
The Dragon Blade just going all over the place. Genji, you know, he just, that last fight was gross. It was actually gross. It was one of those moments where you're like, you begin to question if you're a Blizz developer, if you are accepting the fact that Genji is into the game, because that just those resets going everywhere.